Hello, everyone. So let us continue our discussion on the factors that you must look at when doing a company analysis, a comparable company analysis. And also we'll discuss the equity checklist in the end of the video, which is a prerequisite whenever you want to either read a report or prepare a report and complete your financial analysis. So it has a couple of pointers which you must adhere to and check before finalizing your report. So those are the pointers which must be answered as a part of your analysis. And if you are able to cover all of those points, it is an indication that you've covered the research very well and you're going in the right direction. So let us extend our discussion on the same and let's see what else we can do with the analysis. I hope my screen is visible to all of you. And in the last session, we discussed about the revenue, the cost drivers for a particular industry. And I spoke about why the company analysis part is extremely crucial, especially with respect to analyzing a company, trying and understand its financial statements, trying and understand the qualitative and the quantitative factors that are impacting any business or any company for that matter. So why did I say the industry analysis was so important? It was important because the factors or the drivers of the revenue for industry would more or less remain the same for the company, right? The max that can happen is the proportion of revenue coming from those respective areas or respective sub industries can vary. However, the basic business model will remain the same across all the companies within that industry. So if a bank is in the business of lending out loans and accepting deposits, reinvesting that fund in profitable ventures, then all the companies that operate within those industry, that industry would be having a similar business setup, right? They would have more or less have the same business model, which is true for the industry as a whole. So let us move to the specific factors you must adhere to and incorporate as a part of your analysis and report when it comes to company analysis. But before this, I want to discuss that how do you pick up the companies from the industry? Well, I have prepared a separate video on that, and I believe that using an approach where you look at the top 5 companies by weightage in a particular sector, you look at 5 companies as per the total number of assets or the largest cap companies, the largest market cap companies, the top 5, or by the total of net assets. So these are some of the factors through which you can pick up the companies you want to analyze within the sector. You always start with analyzing one primary company as such, but then you also look at the comparable companies along with it, which becomes the competitors or the companies operating in the same space. Why is that important? Because whenever you look at a company, you cannot analyze a company standalone. You would always want a comparison factor. You would always need the comparable companies against which you can gauge the performance of your company. It would either be performing better than the comparable companies, at par, or lower than what we expect as compared to the comparable companies. So to draw that conclusion, to make that conclusion out of our analysis, it is important we consider the comparable companies along with our primary company that we are trying to value and analyze. So we all know that a company is all about its income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. There are tools we can use to analyze the financials of these companies. But before that, it is also important to look at the qualitative factors and not just the quantitative, which is the non-financial factors. So if I ask you what are the non-financial factors of analyzing a company, what would you say? Well, what comes to my mind is when I look at an annual report and go through the same, there is a lot that talks about the vision, mission statement, the organizational structure, who the board of directors are, what is the projected profit, what is the projected revenue, what is the projected financial numbers the management believes they will be able to achieve or has already achieved in the past. So there are 2 aspects to analyzing the company. One is what it has already done in the past in the form of financials, the numbers that are available in the annual reports, and one, the expectation or the confidence that the customers or the consumers, the internal, external users associate with the performance of that business. It's only when an investor would expect the company to perform well in the future, or we expect that, the financials which are yet to be published will report a profit or an increment in the previous figures or the last year's figure, we would want to buy the stocks of those companies. So especially with respect to picking up the quality stocks using fundamental analysis, this is what plays a very important role. So again, from the industry comes the company analysis. The industry analysis should be in the form of a well-prepared presentation of almost 7 to 8 slides, detailing everything about the industry, including, the pestle, the SWOT, and also what the revenue drivers or the risk factors of that particular industry are, along with any mergers and acquisitions that have happened, any recent news that have been floated in the market on the same. Again, as far as company analysis, we should be aware whether the company we are trying to analyze is a public company or a public private company. If it's a public company, has it already launched its IPO? When I say IPO, I mean, is it a listed company? If it is listed, in which stock exchange is it listed? In India, we have two major national stock exchanges, which is NSE and BSE. Most of the companies operate or are listed in both the exchanges, both the NSE and the BSE. The prices might differ by 100 to 100 basis points, but there should not be a major difference in the prices, because if the prices vary so much, there can be a possibility of arbitrage, which is a separate concept and not a scope right now. But you should know whether, if it's listed, which stock exchange is it listed in, when did it get incorporated. So there are two things: the company, when it started its operations, and when it started listing in the market. So both the things are crucial for you. If you have to analyze the stock price movement in the company, you should know when the company was listed. So if I ask you that, analyze the stock price for the last 5 years for Nykaa, you know that Nykaa was recently listed in the market. So will you get the last 5 years prices for Nykaa? No, you will not, right? So it's important to know when the company was incorporated and when it got listed. So the date of listing is also important for your internal understanding. Again, the organizational structure, as I said, who are the board of directors? What is their role in the business? What are their educational qualifications? Are they adding some value? Are they a significant member of the team? If they happen to leave the company, will it impact its future revenues? Are the company's owners, the promoters, the management playing a very important role in bringing the customers to the business? Very important factor to consider. And all of this information you can get on the company's website on the annual reports, if it's a listed company and publishes its financials to the open public. Again, when I talk about the qualitative factors, sometimes the qualitative factors such as the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats for a particular company are also important. But a company's revenue growth, a company's positive margins, EBITDA margins, EBIT margins, they become a very important strength parameter for a business. And hence, we would look at the revenue factors, the cost factors, the long-term expenditures, or the CAPEX. CAPEX is how much the company spends on buying, building, plant, machinery, etc. We should also know the ratios associated with the business. Now, ratios is just an exercise we do when we have understood the financials of the company. When I say financials, majorly a company would have an income statement which comes from the trading P&L account, which talks about the bottom line or the profit or loss generated in a particular financial year or a calendar year. Then we have the balance sheet, which reports the position of the business as on the particular date. When I say position, income cannot be a position on a particular date, right? Income is generated over a period of time. When I say the balance sheet is prepared at a point of time, and hence it is prepared separately and not with the profit and loss account. Again, it's important to understand the interlinking of the financial statements, which I will shortly be talking about in another video when we talk about company analysis. So now you know that you will start analyzing the company's financials. So the first step is to see what has happened historically. When I say what has happened historically, I mean, first I need to bring everything to an Excel file, calculate the growth rates, that is from 1 year to the next year and then to the next year, how much growth has happened, whether it was a growth in revenue, whether it was a degrowth in revenue. Similarly, has the margins improved? Has the margins remained flat, or have the margins reduced? Again, most important, what is the reason behind that decrease in the margins? Most likely it's available on the annual report. If it's not available, we'll have to check if some industry factor might have impacted the revenue of every company operating in that industry. So what I have mentioned here as the FSA PL and FSA BS is the financial statement analysis PL, the financial statement analysis balance sheet, which means we will present the balance sheet and the P&L in a well-structured format as per the Companies Act 2013. And then we'll proceed with our analysis. We should know what the cash position of the business is. We should know the liquidity position, how much liquid is the company with respect to its working capital and the cash and cash equivalents. How much cash is there in hand? How quickly can the company convert its assets into liquid assets, right? So where would you get this information? From the balance sheet, right? The amount of loan or the amount of long-term borrowings it has, and the amount of depreciation that is charged on the fixed assets. So all of these small factors play a very important role. But again, at this point, you just have to remember what all we'll be looking at. Where we'll be looking at is a different topic altogether. We look at those things in an annual report. I will show you a live annual report of a company, and then we'll discuss these factors in detail. Now, what is the reason for the delta in values? What is delta? Delta is the difference. So when I say, for example, if I say that the revenue of a company has increased from 120 to 145, and then 145, it reduced to 120. Right? So when it increased to 145, we should know that it was a growth of how much percent. So if it was, let's say, 120 to 145, there is a growth of 25%, 25 rupees on a base of 120. If it reduced to 130 on a base of 145, we should say it's a reduction of 15 on a base of 145. So we can calculate the percentage and comment how the growth rates have remained in the previous years. Because projections are something that we discuss with the management and then project for a valuation exercise. But as far as you having to do it on your own, we do it on the basis of the average revenue in the last 2 to 3 years, which is a part of financial modeling. And if time permits, I will be happy to take that up as well. Again, what is MOAT and advantage, right? So here I would like to tell you that the term economic MOAT, it is given by the value of the father of value investing, who's Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett popularized the term economic MOAT. What is economic MOAT? It means a business's ability to maintain the competitive advantage over its competitors in order to protect its long-term profits and market share. So every company might have some advantage that it has with respect to other companies. It could be the technology, it could be the advancement in its products and services, it could be, adapting well to the trends in the market, etc. So this is a point we look at in detail when we are actually trying and analyzing our company. But yes, this is important when it comes to doing the research for the company analysis. R&D, expansion, news, M&A, again, goes without saying. The news articles. So has the company recently been in news? What are the possible factors it can be in the news for? It could be a possibility that the board meeting was there and the company has published its financials. The company has distributed dividends. So whether it's a dividend paying stock, is it a growth stock? Is it a seasonal stock? What kind of a stock is it? And does it pay dividends out of its profits to the equity shareholders or not? Again, are there any mergers and acquisitions that have happened? Recently, there was a merger of there was a merger of Inox with PVR. So PVR Inox was a acquisition. I mean, there was a merger of these two, and then this was there in the news. So it's part of the media and entertainment industry, right? So such M&As happen time and again, and you are the best people to come and tell me that this merger happened recently, whether it was a horizontal merger, vertical merger, what were the reasons or the rationale behind any kind of a merger and acquisition activity happening is also something we look at in the company analysis. Again, here I would like to bring in your notice that we have a lot of virtual simulators in the market. That is, at this stage, I ask everybody to add a lot of stocks in your DMAT as a part of the watch list. If you do not have an active DMAT, you can use these links to create a dummy account where you can add stocks or companies you are trying to analyze, and then study the change in the stock prices and how those prices have moved over weeks and days and even months. Very fruitful exercise, but requires a lot of commitment, patience, and consistency. Right? So these are some of the factors I've shared. As we proceed ahead, we'll also be looking at more from a company's annual report and figure out if there is anything else we can incorporate. Now, remember that I told you that when we do an industry analysis, it's better to prepare a presentation. However, when we do a company analysis, we try and prepare a Word document, or we try and prepare an Excel file. Excel can be a good point to start for all the financial information or the numbers. Anything theory that you want to mention, that is organization structure, the industry overview, the revenue factors, etc., can be in the form of a report in the Word document. So you have three things whenever you do a research. One is a presentation on the industry and the economy factors. One is a Word document you prepare on all the information you get on the company analysis. And one is an Excel file that details the entire working on these revenue, cost, capex, opex, and all the financial statement analysis goes in the Excel file. So I hope I'm clear till this point, and you have gotten an understanding of what a MOAT or a competitive advantage is, and you'll research more about the same. Last but not the least, the comparable company analysis. So as I said, that whenever you are trying to analyze one company, you don't just work around that one company, right? Because eventually, to make conclusions, to give recommendations, you should also be able to compare it with the comparable companies in the same space. How do you do that? You check what the comparable companies or what the competitors of that company is offering as compared to my company or the company I am trying to analyze. So either that comparable company can be a substitute, that is, they work anti to my company. If my company produces, let's say, Ayurvedic products, they also produce Ayurvedic products and are giving me a tough competition in the market. Or it can be a possibility that those are complementary products. Both of the companies in the same industry work together, and one provides the raw material to the other so that the other can prepare a finished good out of the raw material coming from that company. So how is an automobile or a car prepared? An automobile sector might use or might have tie-ups with steel companies, metal companies, all those tire companies from where these raw materials are coming from, and the final product is the car we drive. Whenever we talk about the comparable company, we check for the geographical fit, we check for the regional fit, we check for the business fit. I'm not explaining these points because here I want you to think a little bit and come back if you have any queries. Geographical fit means if my company operates in 10 geographies, are those other companies also catering to those geographies or not? Business fit. How relevant is the business model of my company is with that of the comparable companies? Are they also doing the same business that my company is doing? Only if they are doing a similar business, or mostly 80-90% of the business remains the same, I can say that yes, I can compare my performance with that company, right? Especially if my company is a private company, I can gauge the performance or the valuation of my company basis that bigger company which produces the same products and services and has the same business model, right? So when we talk about comparable company analysis, I completely talk about ratio analysis. Why? Because the ratios are on a relative level, that is, they compare the percentages and not the numbers directly, right? They talk about the multiples, the enterprise value, the equity value, the PE, EBITDA margins, EBIT margins, the turnover ratios, the liquidity ratios, whether my company is more liquid as compared to the peers, or are they more liquid as compared to my target company. So many other factors goes around the same, and we'll have a look at it once we proceed in the future sessions. But some of the sources that you can look at is the annual report, investor presentation, the websites, Google search. LinkedIn also plays a very important role when you want to read about what the company itself has published about its business operations. So I hope this gave you a good overview on how you go about it. In the next video, we will talk about the equity checklist, which is very similar to this exercise, but it's crucial for you to answer those questions in the given question and answer format. So whatever I have spoken so far in the last two videos is extremely important, and I hope you'll be working around the same when it has to be about preparing your equity research reports. So all the very best, and I'll see you in the next video where we talk about the equity research checklist, which should be handy for all of you to see if you've covered all the points in your report or not. So all the best, and I'll see you in the next video.